Hey guys, in this video I'll be sharing my go-to Demon Hunter PvE build which I use for most of the content in PvE. But not just that, with this build I've cleared one of the most difficult contents in the game, starting with Path of Blood, last boss with 92% damage reduction, and also clearing Challenge Rift with 80% damage reduction in 8 minutes. And not just that, I also faced one of the toughest boss in Challenge Rift while doing so. I also use this build for Vanguard and dungeons and even farming, but in those builds, in those modes, I do some slight alterations. So in this video, I'm going to share you the main build, and then in the timestamps, you can see some alterations that I make which are suitable for those particular game modes. And I'll also talk about the new Vanguard gear that we have received in the game. There are 3 types of gear, and these types of gear has been complete game changer for Demon Hunter, and it has been a huge help in clearing the difficult content in the game. By the way, for context, my resonance is at 2400 and my secondary stat is pretty much shit. I play 4 to 5 classes and rotate between them, so if you appreciate these detailed build types of videos, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel and it helps me a lot as a creator. Now, without any further delay, let's get into the builds. So first we start with the base build. Keep in mind, in high level Challenge Rift, any mob that is going to touch you or even sneeze at you, you are going to die. So you have to play very carefully, and since your damage is reduced by like 80%, only you are doing only 20% of damage, the build has to be super optimized. Now, like I said, my resonance is at 2400. If my resonance would be higher, like 4000, 5000, maybe I will be able to clear even more difficult Challenge Rifts, because resonance is directly going to help you in clearing higher difficulty Challenge Rift. It is a fact. Higher resonance, higher damage means you can clear even harder Challenge Rifts. Like I push till 80%, I can even push further like 83, 84%. But maybe if you have higher 4000, 5000, maybe up to 90%, you can clear with 90% damage reduction up to. I think you should at least aspire to that if you are very high resonance. So for the skills in this build, I'm using knockback shot, multi-shot, daring swing, and impale. For the essences, there is something I want to talk about first, and that is the choice of the chest essence. I'm using Duplicitous Prophetics. Now this is not the essence that is going to give you highest damage, right? So you must be wondering, as Demon Hunter, you should always choose the highest damage essence, right? The new essence, Flayer's Banquet, does a little bit more damage. It is going to break enemies' armor and it is also going to inflict bleed, but I'm not choosing that one. I am actually choosing this one because the purpose of this build is to clear difficult Challenge Rifts and even for Vanguard, because the mobs will be attacking you, and this particular essence has knockback, and this goes a long way in Challenge Rift. I've tried Challenge Rift with both of them, and this one feels much better to me, right? So for knockback shot, I'm using Duplicitous Prophetics and also this helmet, which is going to increase the primary attack speed by 30% when I use knockback shot. For daring swing, I'm using this particular daring swing, which is going to increase my attack speed by 19%. There is another daring swing essence that increases primary attack speed by 30%. And among these two, I tried this one, 19% for all types of attacks. This one is much better than this one. The damage output was better. The next essence is multi-shot, and multi-shot is going to be our highest source of damage in this build. We are using Fang Splitter. This is relatively new, and if you are a Demon Hunter, you know this is not so new for you, right? And also this particular chest shoulder essence that launches 2 homing rockets when you use multi-shot. So 2 essences for basically multi-shot. Now for Impale, we are using the Impale that basically launches from your primary attack when you activate Impale, and for the main hand we are using Impale that causes bleed to the enemies, and this is very important, the bleed effect. I'll tell you why. And for the other main hand, I'm using the crossbow shot essence, which basically pierces through one enemy and passes through different enemies. And this is also very important essence. And yeah, like I said, I think I don't remember, for primary attack I'm using crossbow shot. And now moving to the set items. For the set items, I'm using 4 pieces of Vithus, and I am also using 4 pieces of Banquet of Ice. And that is why my main hand essence, basically this is going to be very important, which inflicts bleeds to the enemy, right? I I'm also using, Viper's Bite. If you have Viper's Bite, it is going to help you a lot, or even like Everlasting Torrent, Sleeping Bile, things like that, which inflict dot. I think that is going to be very good because that is going to help you get higher critical hit chance. That is what I have in my setup, right? So I have very high critical hit chance, and with the 4 pieces of Vithus, I'm getting very high attack speed. I'm also getting attack speed from my Helmet SS. I'm getting attack speed from my Pant Essence, and I am getting attack speed from my Reforge bonus. So there is a good combination of attack speed, a lot of attack speed and a lot of crit. Now I can do even further damage if I have very good armor penetration, something like 4200 or something above that, but unfortunately I do not have, so I have to make use of whatever I have, right? So in this build, I should be having my normal attack speed at around 70%, 65 to 70%, and my primary attack should be at 100% because primary attack I have a special helmet which is actually adding 30%, and my normal attack speed and this primary attack speed together is going to add up, and my attack speed is at 100%. Primary attack speed is at 100%, and my other attack speed is at around 70%. Before I forget, I don't want to miss this. This is very, very important. And that the new essences from Vanguard is with the Reliquary affixes. These are super nice for Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter can utilize their the ultimate so often, right? Especially while doing challenge rift. In one challenge rift, I think I sometimes utilize 3 times my the main the ultimate. And my favorite one for challenge rift and for Gauntlet is the Flame Spun. This is going to destroy enemy armor by 30% for 8 seconds, and this is pretty huge. If you use this particular one, you will definitely see a major change, like a major impact. 30% armor break in high difficult challenge rift is going to go a very long way, and you will clearly see the difference how fast the mobs are dying. And also, if you can trigger this on the bosses, you will actually see a very impactful difference with using this particular one. Now I was lucky enough where I got this essence, Reliquary essence, along with critical hit chance. So even if there was no critical hit chance, I think I would still use it because of the value it provides. It is very good essence. For challenge rift and for most of the other content like dungeons and everything, I prefer Slinger. Paragon tree, it is very good. It is going to give extra crit chance and also increases damage, and also I'm taking this particular careful aim which is going to increase my damage the further I am from the enemy. So basically you have to keep in mind that if you stay away from the enemy, you are going to deal more damage. So Slinger is my go-to set, go-to item, go-to Paragon tree. But when I am in Vanguard and I play with very low amount of lower level of charms, my go-to tree is Survivor. This is going to help me basically in case I receive a fatal hits from an enemy, I am not going to die. My health is going to reduce to 1. So for Vanguard, I use Survivor. Apart from that, I am using Slinger most of the time. For Reforge bonuses, basically I prefer a Vengeance set. I have Vengeance set in all 8 gears. I have 8 pieces of Vengeance set. I use three Vengeance and basically 2 and yeah, I'm using 1 beneficial effect. All the gears have beneficial effect duration. All the Vengeance set has attack speed increase, right? Apart from attack speed increase and beneficial, the others are quite random. For example, here if you see Vengeance family bonus, the one that I would prefer, if you have the spare basically stones, you can change to damage to demons increase. This is going to help you a lot while doing a very difficult challenge like challenge rifts and Vanguard. I do not have this. I took whatever I had because I am out of stones. Once I get stones, I'll take this basically, right? And for the other one, you can use critical hit damage for your primary attack, or maybe you do primary attack damage. Both of them are pretty much okay. So basically in this build, everything is going to proc from your primary attack. You activate the 3 skills and just shoot the enemy. And basically the builds, you have to kite the mobs. Basically you have to move around and kite the mobs and use Daring Swing. Daring Swing has iframes when you jump, right? So you have to use the Daring Swing very wisely. Now a couple tips for the challenge rift. Tip number one, I prefer doing this in basically library, because library has big galleries and you have a lot of space to move around, so you are not cornered by the mobs. So library is my number one. Second one can be, you know, dark wood. Dark wood and library are the two types of maps which I prefer for challenge rift. And for the type of mobs, if it is library, most of the mobs I take it, you know. However, if you have these particular mobs, it is going to be even better. And even Bloodsworn, I tried to do it with Bloodsworn, and even I was able to clear it with Bloodsworn as well. Now as for the boss, this particular boss that I am facing, this is probably one of the worst boss you can face in challenge rift. Probably, right? Because it has ground effect where some ground area is going to be poisoned, and if you step on that, you are going to die. Plus it has range attacks. Range attacks plus ground effect is pretty bad, but still I was able to clear with this particular build in this challenge rift. That is the build, guys. Now let's get into some variations for different types of mode. The first variation of this build is for Vanguard, right? For Vanguard, basically we are using different types of charm. I usually prefer this Valor's Call or the Healing Field. These are very nice. You need either damage or healing. But for Vanguard, I'm going to make a special video maybe for, very soon. The build wise, everything stays the same because there are a lot of mobs, so you can still get benefit of Banquet. The only thing, like I already mentioned, is the Paragon. I use Survivor Tree in Vanguard rather than using Slinger, and this is just to, you know, in case I receive some fatal blow or something like that, I don't want to die. And I keep using Knockback Shot because there are so many mobs, especially when you are reaching the second tree, right? The second pillar in the Vanguard mode. There are a lot of mobs that are attacking you, and that time and those time, these basically Knockback Shot is going to help you a lot. So that is the variation for Vanguard. No change except for the Paragon. And now we move on to the dungeons and farming build, and also this build I use in basically you know, Castle Abyssal Verge and Castle Erebban as well, and even for raids as well. So in this build, what I have changed is the entire build remains the same, except I change my Knockback Shot to Vengeance. This new Flayer's Banquet Essence is pretty good. It has you know, it has bleed effect as well, and it has armor break. So I'm using this Vengeance instead of Knockback because I don't need to knock back. You know, it's farming, it's basically, you know, dungeons, right? And mobs are not going to kill you, right? So for these, you can go more aggressive and use essences that deal more damage. So I'm using this particular essence. This is for dungeons and farming. And for the helmet, since you know, I'm also using Vengeance essence. Vengeance, you have quite a few of the essence. I have very high beneficial effect duration, so downtime on Vengeance is pretty low, so I'm not using this duration extend essence for Vengeance. And critical hit chances also, I don't think so you need high crit chance for dungeons and farming and Abyssal Verge. It does not make sense. So basically for Vengeance, I'm using this particular helmet, which is going to increase your primary attack speed. For farming, basically, and even Abyssal Verge and Castle Erebban, I don't use Impale. I do not change my essence because I just equip my, you know, Shadow Sight, right? And I just use Shadow Sight to basically see the map. And for farming, I think only 2 of the essences are good enough to clear all the mobs, right? So this is the slight variation for farming that I do. I just change the skill, do not change the essence. It is not required. Now we finally move on to basically gauntlets. Gauntlets, I am actually working on the build which works the best. Currently, I played the build, the first one. I'm easily able to defeat the first boss on time and without even dying. The second boss sometimes does a full AoE damage, which actually kills me, one-shots me. So I'm still figuring out, you know, how I can, you know, I can either dodge them. Basically, if I improve my gameplay, maybe this particular build with the Vengeance version, I should be able to clear. But still, if I'm not able to clear, I'll try to think of something, come up with something, make some variations, maybe make my class more tanky, which is actually preventing me from, you know, killing the boss, because I am dying sometimes with this AoE type of effect. So guys, in this video we covered the base build in challenge rift section. We covered dungeons, we covered farming, we covered Castle Erebban, and also we kind of covered Gauntlet as well, and obviously we covered Vanguard, right? So these are basically the majority of the PvE content that you usually do with Demon Hunter. Feel free to try this build and let me know down in the comment below if you like this build, or if you would basically recommend some changes in the comments below. I'll definitely look into them, and basically I'll try those out myself and basically, you know, try something new, right? Demon Hunter is one of my favorite class to do these types of basically PvE content. But for PvP, I think you need a different types of mindset for PvP. I'm basically playing as Monk, Barbarian, Crusader, right? It melee attacks, melee like Blood Knight in close range. So my mindset is very different when it comes to PvP. And that's why it's a big learning curve for me to play Demon Hunter in PvP. So the Demon Hunter PvP build and gameplay, I don't think so I'll be able to make right now. I can make more PvE videos based on your request or maybe your suggestions, but for PvP builds, I think you'll have to wait a bit longer till I get more used to with this Demon Hunter class, right? Like I said, if you have any more comments or if you have any more suggestions, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.